Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our community briefing on gun violence. Before we get started, I just want to pause and thank everyone in attendance this evening and everyone participating through our live stream. I would also like to thank the pastor of this great church and his staff, Dr. Nathan Scovins. Thank you so much. We appreciate you opening up your doors so that we can have this critically important community briefing, and we appreciate all that you and your church, all that you do in this community, specifically in the Northeast Ward. At this time, I want to recognize all elected officials who are present. If we have any city council members present, please stand. If we have any other elected officials, please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. I saw our city manager, Lee Garrity, come in. Let's recognize him. Our assistant city manager, Ms. Patrice Toney. This event also would not have been possible if it had not been for our extremely talented marketing team. I want to thank them for all that they have done to pull this community event together. Let's give them a round of applause. I want to thank my community assistant liaison, Melvin Akins. Without him, none of this would have been possible. Thank you, Melvin. As you know, we had a town hall meeting on gun violence in May. The purpose of that town hall was to bring community members together, hear the voices of the people so that we could come up with strategies that we could use to address gun violence. That meeting was very successful. It was very productive. We came back together to give a report on that meeting. So the second meeting that we had was for the purpose of sharing data and to discuss the effectiveness of the strategic session that we had in the beginning. And I'm proud and happy to announce once again, many of the strategies that we put in were extremely effective, but the most effective one was saturation patrol, because during the time that we implemented saturation patrol, we had 0 homicides. 0 in the city. I think that yields a round of applause. This meeting, this briefing tonight is for the purpose of keeping us unified, keeping us clear on our mission, and up to date on the progress of our mission. So this is a briefing that I know we will be able to walk away with more than we had when we came in. At this time, I'm going to ask the great pastor of this church, Dr. Scovin, to lead us in prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Burke. We are grateful to host this meeting, and I want to say welcome to the campus of the Galilee Baptist Church. Let us pray. God our Father, we thank you for your goodness, your grace, and your mercy. We appreciate you, Lord, for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon each of us. We also thank you for what you're doing in this community. We ask, Lord, that you will continue to smile on us, shine on us, and allow us to experience, oh God, the fruit of our labor. But here we are again, because we know, God, that there are issues in our community. So we ask you, Lord, that you would stretch forth your mighty hand and give us ears to hear what the Spirit is saying about what we must do to impact change in the lives of those we serve. We're grateful and we're committed. Now bless all that we do. In your name we pray. Amen.
At this time, we're going to ask our mayor, Mayor Alan Jones, to bring greetings, followed by our Mayor Pro Tem, Denise Adams.
Thank you, Councilmember Burke, and thank you for your work to bring together this meeting tonight and keeping the interest on this and the eye on this. And to Reverend Scovin, thank you for hosting this meeting here at beautiful Galilee. I wanted to be here tonight. I'm supposed to be someplace else right now, and I'll be leaving to go to it, but I told Councilmember Burke I wanted to be here tonight because of the importance of this issue. It's probably the most important issue facing our community right at this moment, and that's the gun violence. Now, I was feeling good last year. We saw our homicides go down by 25%, but then here in the first month of the year, we've had 9 homicides already this year compared to 4 last year. So it's a serious issue that keeps it in our forefront. I want you to know that I support our police department, our sheriff's department. Sheriff Kimbrough, good to see you. And of course, our new police chief, Penn. I want you to know that from my standpoint, I support everything that you do and all the work that you're doing, the technology that you're bringing to bear on this with our real-time crimes center, the shot detection center, and all the work that you're doing there. But I think they will tell you that they can't do it alone. It's got to be a community effort coming together to address it, particularly to help with the young people. And we started some programs I think are going to have some impact on young people in the long run. We've created, for instance, a paid internship program for 11th and 12th graders who are coming from perhaps disadvantaged families, to pay them $15 an hour, 10 hours a week to help give some money in their pocket, but hopefully introduce them to some careers perhaps. We created a free college program 3 years ago that any high school graduate here in Forsyth County who can't afford to can go to Forsyth Tech totally free. All fees, books, child care, transportation paid, and hopefully, again, this will get some of our young people in very positive ways. We've also started and funded, Mr. City Manager, a program called CURE, C-U-R-E, that's funded 2 years ago, and we're just getting ready to put counselors out into the neighborhoods to sit down with young people and talk to them about ways to address anger, address conflict without reverting to violence, and particularly gun violence. So again, Councilmember Burke, thank you for your work in making this happen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here, and to our law enforcement, thank you all for being here as well. Thank you.
As the mayor said, good evening, everyone. We are a very unique community. Most of the homicides and violence, just like across the country, are basically happening in the African-American community and Latino Hispanic community. But I want to thank Councilmember Burke for keeping the conversation and our engagement alive. We have a lot of other groups, nonprofits, organizations, and others in the community that are doing likewise. But as the mayor and command staff, the sheriff, ministers conference, all of you know, he's already said it, but we know it. We can't do it by ourselves. And because we didn't get here overnight, as I was talking to someone earlier, when you have, whereas there's been systemic disinvestment in Black and brown and poor communities over decades, hundreds of years, that things like this start to happen. And then when it starts to really blow up based in the world we live in right now, it's not going to go away overnight. But the main thing I'm seeing and hearing and talking with my colleagues across the country with the National League of Cities is that all of us are throwing everything but the kitchen sink, just like us, at it. I think the Biden administration's influx in the state's money, ARPA money, that bill is helping us to create these programs in our community. But just like we know, it's not going to be overnight. But we are planting a stake in the ground, whether it's the city's investment and not continuing to stay in our lane of pre-K. A child's life starts at the beginning of learning. And when we made the decision to do that, I think it's a great one that we will continue to do with the county and others, that first of all, we got to make sure our babies have somewhere to go at 4 years old on a quality daycare and to start their educational opportunity to a better life. I'm here to listen and learn. As the councilwoman said, it's a briefing. So when everybody walks away, whether it's the press or anybody else, and thinks that, oh, well, they didn't provide us no answers, they didn't give us nothing to go home and do, there's always something to do. Whether it's calling public safety when you see people in your community that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, that's jeopardizing your community and your quality of life, your babies, your old folk, mama, daddy, everybody. You know, when you participate in the process, what you're doing now, versus just, you could have stayed home. But I want to let you know, we thank you for being here this evening, and we're just hoping that all of you, you know, you may come to one of these, and there might not be but 10 people here. But the point is, we got to stay strong and stay fast to take back our communities. And with that, I thank God for all of you being here this evening. Thank you.
We operate on losers and winners. But in this conversation, the only losers are our children. The only losers are our children. And we must make a commitment to do everything we can to give every child a better life.
What exactly happened to you, Carlos?
Well, to begin with, I'm sitting here today because I lost my 20-year-old daughter to gun violence March 6, 2022. Okay, my son's name was Sean Elliott Mitchell Jr. He was killed at High Point March 10th, 2019. Got a car and sure met me. He identified himself again and he said, regretfully I have to tell you that your son's killed. Sure this morning.
My dad on September 16, 2016, on 19
They followed him down 52 and they shot more than a dozen rounds into my daughter's car. My son made a phone call, said he was on his way home, but he didn't make it home.
And it's been 8 years since my son been dead. I don't have no justice. I don't know who did it.
I understand now why the other sheriffs were there, because they're there to catch you and support, because that's what they had to do. Yeah. So, my son was still 23 years old. He was gang-related, and that was the last night of his life. And it'll be a year, March 6th, which is next month, that I still have no answers. So the only thing I was in the background, and they were saying, my daughter was telling me, Mom got shot. I'm like, it's been a journey. It's been a tough journey. I mean, it was just a circus. And you still don't have justice, and it's something that I have to live with every day. Every day.
Well, when my children were growing up, which I have great-grandchildren now, they could go outside and play. You have to worry about the children.
Outside from just helping somebody. It didn't have anything to do with him, but it's like me I told my daughters numerous times, your brother was there in the wrong place, wrong time. Every time I hear, whether it's local, whether it's worldwide, it hits a certain place. It triggers raw emotions.
I keep my son pictures every day.
they're not loving themselves. If you love yourself, guess what? You're going to think about it. If I do this to me. If you love you, don't think I'm going to prison for 15 years. Junior was a good fella. He loved children. He loved animals. And even though in the street he was who he was, when he came home, he was June. He was June. And we love him. And we still love him. Some people's circumstances are harsher than mine. Some are better. But it's never to bury a child. And I just want to say that I support all grieving mothers.
I look at this. Every time these officers, firemen, ambulance attendants, whoever they leave home, they're walking in our danger. And I'm not saying everybody's safe because we're not. But I will say this, together we're safe.
And so every time I hear that, my heart hurts, aches for that family, that parent, that mother, that father, those siblings. I just thank God I'm still standing, that I can speak for my son and speak up for my son, because he's not here with me.
Good evening. I am William Penn Jr., and I am your Chief of Police. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Councilmember Burke for putting this together. Much needed. I want to thank Pastor Scovens for allowing us into this beautiful facility. I am beyond honored to be the Chief of Police for Winston-Salem. Very rare you get to be the leader of an agency you love in the city you love. If you were to walk out of this building, in fact, and just look to the left, you would see the home that I was raised in and with my wonderful parents. As thrilled as I am, though, I have to say I'm burdened as well. Every night I get phone calls when there's a shooting or a violent act in this city, and I'm praying that it's not one of my officers injured or no one from the community's injured. Every one of our children have a right to dream and try to fulfill that dream. Some of you have heard me refer to an acronym I use. I use acronyms because that helps me remember things, and it's PIA. And what PIA stands for is prevention, intervention, and apprehension. And when I'm talking about prevention, a lot of times we think about locking your doors or turning on your alarm. But that's not the type of prevention I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of prevention that starts at the home. I'm thinking about prevention that allows children, when faced with conflict, to remember what that dream is and not decide to go get one of these 390 million civilian guns that are in our community. I said it, 390 million civilian weapons. What that means is there's 120 guns for every 100 people in this great country of ours. The police department can play a support role in prevention, but we can't take the lead in that type of prevention. The I stands for intervention. And what that means, jumping in there when someone's made a mistake and bringing them back into the fold. There has to be a place for folks in our community that make a mistake that they can come back to and be productive citizens in our community. And the A stands for apprehension. The A, the apprehension, that's where the police department, we're in our lane. But even then, we still can't do it alone. We've got specialized units. We have partners with the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office. We partner with Kernersville. We have state partners. I see juvenile justice here. We have federal partners, probation, parole, the DA's office, and the U.S. Attorney's Office. That's our partners in the apprehension. But it takes all three. Today, you will hear from all three facets in this response. This briefing is successful if A, you learn what law enforcement is doing to try to make our community safe. B, you learn about additional resources out there in our community that can make our life better. And C, if you have resources, which we have so many community-based organizations that are out here doing the work, if you will make yourself known tonight and supply that information to the gang steering committee, and Councilmember Burke said that she will warehouse information on her page so that anyone in the community that is looking for a resource can go to these two places and get that information. Following me, Assistant Chief Gomez will tell you what the police department is doing in the apprehension portion of PIA. Chief Weaver will follow him and let you know about all the partnerships and what we're doing with others to keep the community safe.
Good evening, everyone. I was actually supposed to come before Chief Penn, but he's more important than I am, so. I'm Cedric Russell with Russell Funeral Home, and there's probably a lot of people here wondering, why are you here? This is benefiting you. No, it's not benefiting me. It really is not. Those ladies that just came on the video screen at the very beginning, to be there, to see that, to internalize that, to see their friends coming in, crying, wailing. Parents are not supposed to bury their children. It's supposed to be the other way around. It's a lot of ways that we can do things, and all the experts are here tonight. From what's considered the ground soldiers like Frankie Gist, to people like Spurgeon Red, who works with Habitat for Humanity. It's a lot of different collaborative groups that are here tonight. So hear what they have to say. Don't be critical of what you don't know about. Learn, be positive, intake it, and I think we need to give a round of applause to Barbara Haynes Burke, for pulling this together. So this is a community briefing, and I told her I would be brief because I don't do speeches. And thank you so much to all the honorable law enforcement folks that have appeared tonight, to people like EMS and the fire department. They don't get enough credit. They put out fires. They just don't. But they are the ones that have to come there and clean everything up. So let's give credit where credit is due. Thank you for your time. May God continue to bless you. And please, please, let's parent at home. Please, let's parent at home. We need to have parenting classes for some of the parents. I mean, really. You see the way some of these parents perform when they come to the schools it's embarrassing. So please, take all of this in. Let's do something about it together. It can happen. I'm with you. I'm like Mayor Jones tonight. I've got somewhere I got to go too. So everybody that knows me, they know where I'm going. So take care. God bless. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Manny Gomez, and I am honored to serve at the Winston-Salem Police Department. It's truly a blessing to see everybody that came out to learn about what we at the police department in the city of Winston-Salem are doing to make our community safer. As mentioned already, we are gonna need your help in order to be able to accomplish this task. It really does take the whole community for us to be able to make our community safe. I'm here to present to you guys what we're doing from the police department standpoint to ensure that we try to reduce the violent crime that we've seen a spike in this year early on. As mentioned, 9 homicides have occurred so far this year. What are we doing as a police department? So I oversee our Criminal Intelligence Bureau, which is over our Gun Crime Reduction Unit, our Violent Firearms Investigation Team, and our Gang Unit, to mention a few, in the Real-Time Crime Center. We are specifically focusing on gun crime to make sure that we try to reduce the gun crimes that we have seen. One of the strategies that we're using is to start gun tracing. Gun tracing basically allows us to follow a gun so that we can prosecute those people that are involved in straw purchasing. In other words, reducing the availability of guns that are out there for our community members, specifically those that decide to involve themselves in violent crime, so that they don't have the opportunity to have this gun. A straw purchase is when somebody goes and purchases that gun and then provides it to somebody that's going to commit a crime with that. We're going to prosecute them. If you are involved in this activity, let it be known that we are going to be investigating, and we're going to prosecute those type of crimes to the fullest extent of the law with our federal partners, both at the federal law enforcement level and at the federal prosecution, at the local prosecution level as well. We're also using our Violent Impact Player program. What this program does is it identifies the most violent individuals within our community and then assigns them a point ratio. This point ratio is not based on any other metric other than the violence that you've been involved in and the frequency in which you have been involved in that violence. That gives us a very objective, very data-driven number that we can then say, okay, this person is one of the more violent people within the city of Winston-Salem. We can then focus our resources to ensure that we address and give this person a little extra attention from the police department and our partnerships. The other method that we're using is partnering with our local, state, and federal partners. I won't go into great detail. Assistant Chief Wilson Weaver will come up here and explain to you some of our local partnerships. As Chief Penn mentioned, we have other partnerships with our state and federal partners, both at the law enforcement level and at the prosecutor's level, and also with other community advocates. So if you're out there and you're part of a community organization, please, we implore you, partner with us so that we can address this together. And then finally, our Real-Time Crime Center. This is a huge thing when it comes to technology, okay? We are asking you guys to go to connectwinstonsalem.org. Again, I'll say that again, connectwinstonsalem.org, and register your cameras. We understand that it's hard sometimes for us to come forward and provide information to law enforcement because you live in these communities. We have a text-a-tip which can be anonymous, and you can provide us with video, photographic evidence, and any other evidence that you choose to provide to us anonymously in order so that we can respect this fear that you guys have in that community. With that being said, I appreciate you guys being here, and thank you.
Good evening, Winston-Salem and Forsyth County. I am W.S. Weaver II, your Assistant Police Chief with the Winston-Salem Police Department over the Patrol and Special Operations Divisions. I want to talk about the apprehension aspect, as Chief Penn has brought up. We have partners at all 3 levels of government attempting to assist us with controlling this gun violence problem that we're having. At the federal level, we have the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and Homeland Security Investigations, HSI. At the state level, we have the North Carolina State Highway Patrol assisting us, as well as the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation. We also have the Department of Community Corrections, Probation and Parole assisting us in trying to get a handle on this. But our premier partner, local partner, is the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, under the leadership of Sheriff Bobby F. Kimbrough, Jr. We started Saturation Patrol last summer in an effort to try and reduce the gun violence. That started off in the Northeast Ward, and because we did that with the North Carolina State Highway Patrol as well as the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, we had an effectiveness of 0 homicides occurring in Winston-Salem across the summer, in the month of July specifically. We are starting back on the saturation patrols that we have been working with. So that'll be a combination of the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, their JIT team, Juvenile Intervention and Investigation Team, and their patrol division, as well as the Winston-Salem Police Department Gun Crime Reduction Unit, G-Crew is what we call them, VFIT, Violent Firearms Investigations Team, to conduct the long-term investigations, our gang and our patrol division, which will have the ability to go to different areas across our city where we're having problems with gun violence. We are hoping that these methods will reduce the gun violence that's going to occur, that we anticipate will occur when people start coming out in the spring and summertime. With that being said, we need your help. I know you've heard that before, but let me throw this into perspective. 2 weeks ago, we had a homicide at Liberty Street and 13th. It was at an event center, so to speak. Over 20 people at the event center, multiple people shot, someone was killed. Nobody knows nothing about nothing. We got to have information to be able to solve these types of crimes. A few weeks ago, West Don Park, we had a 12-year-old killed in West Don Park due to gun violence. Over 30 people were out there. A number of them were shooting video on their cell phones of that incident as it was occurring. Nobody knows nothing about nothing. We need help. We need the information. As a community, we have to be committed to solving all of our homicides. But of a 12-year-old, please, we have got to have information. So if you know somebody that knows something, Crime Stoppers is available. Please call Crime Stoppers and give us the information so that we can bring justice to those families and we can solve these homicides as they've occurred. Thank you for your time this evening, Winston-Salem and Forsyth County. We appreciate you listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Gomez and Weaver. Traditionally, in major metro cities, the chief of police of the police department does his thing, and the sheriff of the county, they do their thing. Well, I'm happy to tell you that's not the case here. The sheriff of this Forsyth County Sheriff's Office and the chief of police for Winston-Salem, we work together. I speak to the sheriff several times a week, and we're constantly pushing each other, pulling at one another, trying to figure out what we can do to keep this community safe. And together, along with you all, we're going to be able to do it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up my partner in crime fighting, Sheriff Kimbrough.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. First of all, I want to give honor to God since I'm in his house. I want to give honor to the sent angel of this house, Dr. Scovins. I want to give special thanks to the Mayor Pro Tem and Councilwoman Burke for putting this together. But I want to thank all of you for being here. While we have quite a few people here, it should be packed. That's just my humble opinion. I just want to lay some history to what my partner in crime prevention said, Chief Penn, is that traditionally the city does this thing, the county does this thing. And when you look at it from that perspective, there's numbers and there's budgeting. And so as the sheriff, I'm responsible traditionally for what they call the outer of the donut. That's Kernersville, that's Louisville, that's Blues Creek and surrounding areas. We average about 3 homicides a year in all of those spaces. And so my conversation began last year was, that doesn't make sense to me because the people in the city pay county taxes. The people in the city decide who sits in that office down there. So they should have access to the services of the sheriff's office. But here's the problem with that. While they give me money for the county, it doesn't include what we do in the city. My animal services budget is greater than my community service budget. My animal service budget is $2.4 million. My community service budget is $300,000. We build pickleball courts, but yet there's people in the city that can't buy deal pickles. I can tell you about fighting crime. I've been fighting crime 38 years of my life, from the police department to the Fed. I understand how to fight crime. It's not the issue. The problem is the crime stimulates from social issues. And until we get serious about addressing them, we're going to keep having this. We're going to keep having these forums. I can tell you what the sheriff's office has done. We've built more beds than rooms to go. We built 400 beds this year. We've got more jobs than job finders, 300 beds. We've got just as many GEDs as what Stipe Tech has. We have 40 kids every day at the YMCA. We partner with the city. We partner with Frankie Gist. We partner with anybody who want to partner with us. But that's not enough. It's not enough. The numbers that they talk about during the month of July, yes, we had 0 homicides, but let me tell you how that happened. It happened because we partnered together. We had programs working inside the city, and we took SROs that are assigned to the city school because school was out and placed them in the city. We did that. But traditionally, and funding does not require me or give me the funding to do that. The unit that he talks about, the JIT unit, that was created by ARPA funding, we got to figure out how we're going to keep that going. We got to figure out how we're going to keep program going. We got to figure out how we're going to get money to some of the nonprofits out here. So I could stand here and talk about crime fighting all day long. I came to answer questions. I came to tell you what the sheriff's office do. We are part of this community. This is home for me. I'm gonna steal a page from Chief Weaver's book. I love this place so much. I bought me some property right there on New Walkertown Road. For those you don't know what it is, that's a cemetery. That's how much I love this place. In other words, when I'm gone, take me home. So I stopped by to share that with you. I love you. We're going to do our part. Make no mistake about it. If I have to rob Peter to pay Paul, as my mom used to say, I'm going to be in the city. That's a fact. Facts. But I just want you to understand how this thing works and how the numberings work. This ain't no happenstance. We can change the narrative. We can educate our kids. We can get involved in the schools. We can change this narrative. Because you can't tell me all the negative factors are happening in one zip code. As Mayor Pro Tem said it, we didn't just happen to come upon this number, a 14-year life expectancy difference. We didn't happen to come upon the things that are happening in our community. These things are continuous. And until we get involved and get serious about these and address social issues, we will still keep having criminal and issues that we're dealing with right now. Thank you and have a good evening.
Some stats about January 2023 that's not going to be pleasant to hear. 9 total homicides. We have 4 arrests or charges pending on those. 4 unsolved, including the 2 that Chief Weaver pointed out where there were dozens of witnesses and we've received no cooperation. 4 arrests, 4 unsolved, and 1 that's an open case. Of those 9 homicides, 2 were stabbings, 7 gunfire. 3 of them were domestic violence related. I'm gonna give you some phone numbers. Again, Spanish line for Crime Stoppers, 336-728-3904. Crime Stoppers, 336-773-2800. I think that's 728-2800. Text a tip, 336-276-1717. We can't arrest our way out of this mess. I'm at a point in my career where I'm seeing the children of people I've arrested out here terrorizing our community. So I'll say this as I bring up my intervention team. Harry Truman said, "It's amazing what you can accomplish when we don't care who gets the credit." We're gonna have to work together. So now I'll bring up my intervention team. Jason Sloan, Pastor Sloan with the Gang Steering Committee, and Dewana Hamlin with the Family Justice Center.
Good evening to everyone in the building. I am thankful to be here. Don't know how I got here, but while I'm here, Dr. Scovins, blessings to you, sir. What an amazing facility. Thank you so much for leading this community as we do this. Even in Black History Month, I'm thankful for you and how you lead with compassion and integrity. You know, Councilmember Burke, phenomenal. You continue to keep the work going. It's hard work, so hard work. Mayor Pro Tem Dede, you are the flyest sister in town. Every meeting that I'm in with you, you always keep it 100. You keep it flat. You keep it, there's no sugarcoating anything. And to our sheriff, Dr. Kimbrough, bro, I remember you and I having a conversation years ago in our gym, and you were talking about you were about before you started running for this. Thank you for the changes that you have made. And Dr. Penn, it's on you now. We look forward to that. Lee. And Patrice, we go back like band trips in middle school, right, with your dad. But Lee, I'm so thankful for y'all being in the building. I want to salute everybody that's in this place, that you guys are doing things every day, in, out, with your own money, with resources that you have and do not have to make things better. This is what community looks like. This is what Winston-Salem is. I am born and raised in this town, and I'm proud of every last one of you. Some of you I know, some of you I do not know, and I would love to get to know. But the more that we do this, the more that we can impact those numbers. Bottom line, really quick, I am Jason Sloan. I am one of the co-chairs. Leroy Richardson, if you don't mind standing up. We got a whole crew back there. We got Tanya Imes. We got Dave. Y'all know, everybody know Dave. Dave put the hard work in. He's busting. He's making sure his knuckles stay gray to make sure that young people have opportunities in this community, that people have forgotten about them. And I will be remiss to go without saying on Pam Peoples-Joyner, Dr. Pam Peoples-Joyner, to me is one of the hardest working people in police business outside. Dr. Monell in the back, my man. But on top of that, and also our new sergeant for the gang steering committee, for the gang unit for the Winston-Salem Police Department, Sergeant Brooks. thankful to you. Listen, we are the Gang Steering Committee. I will say that we are probably one of the most effective organizations that have been put together for several years. We've been doing work. Now, you may not know, hey, Judge, I didn't see you back there. Now I see you with your fly self, always the coolest cat. But anyhow, we've been doing a lot of work for a lot of years. And we may be doing work that you guys don't know about. Every time that there's a shooting and there's something happening in the community, everybody's always asking, where is this person? Where is that person? Oh, we working. We working. And the work is going to continue to go until, we pass the baton, which is going to have to happen. The reality of it is. But I want to let you know a little bit about who we are and what we do. Specifically speaking, we have 3 particular teams for the Gang Steering Unit. We are nothing. We're community people. We're not employed. We have no resources other than what we bring. We're so thankful that we got Lee here and Patrice because they cutting checks at the end of this meeting. Everybody need to line up and see them. That's what I'm looking to see. But anyways, the reality going forward is we have 3 teams in our action reality. We have a prevention and intervention community action team, which we focus on working with individuals and their families who are in gangs and at risk. And we have to be very, very specific. We can't just give you a rote plan of what we do. We meet with families. We get referrals from SROs, from the gang unit. We get referrals, parents just giving us a call, and we go and we do whatever we can do. Number 2, we have the law enforcement, which is our gang unit, and they particularly go and they investigate those particular matters. They literally work to suppress gang activity and provide gang awareness training. We also have the clergy counseling community. That's what I'm here for. Like, I get to go talk to people, which is an amazing part. Every now and then, I'm on staff at St. Peter's Church, thankful to Bishop and Lady George for all they let us get to do, but I got a little money, and I can take you to go get some wings, and we can talk about it. I was literally in a scenario with a young man, probably about 2 weeks ago, we were eating, and I spent about 4 hours with this young man. He was just telling me all these things that are going on in the community, and my heart goes out to them. They need to have somebody they can talk to, right? Everything doesn't have to be an arrest, but I get that. But I want to say this. This is my reality. There takes an anointing to do this work. There are some people that are great at this. Dr. Scovens is one of the best of them. There's some people that are great at being charismatic people that can engage people around the vision. But what you do takes an even greater anointing because you put the legs to that vision. You're the ones that carry that thing out. That's what we want to connect to as a Gang Steering Committee. We want to connect with you, the work that Dave is doing, the work that we're doing, the work that all of these amazing organizations within our community is doing. You may have great ideas and great things that we can do and connect to. We need that. We need that. And I know George Red, good to see you in here, bro. I'm just saying, as a community, we can do so much better together. Let's stop talking about one another. Let's stop fighting everybody for money. We know it ain't enough money to go around. Listen, I'm not against you. You ain't against me. We all fighting over the same dollar. But if we can put our all dollars together, we can make this happen. And I'm totally down with Chief Penn and with Bobby and with Doctor and with everybody in the room. We got a community problem. We don't have an individual problem. You understand? So my reality going forward is I'm praying for you and I believe in you. I would love to meet every last one of y'all. It ain't about St. Peter's. What I love about Galilee, they gonna put it on the map. You know what I'm saying? And so I dig everybody in this room, but let's get this working. I'm from this community, born and raised. I played ball at Winston Lake Gym. George and them was balling me up, and they was a little younger than me, but the reality of it was I'm from this community. And every time I come through and I drive through, I'm super excited about what God is doing amidst what the people are saying and what the newspaper articles are saying. Lee, I pray for you because you have a great job before you. And it's not just a money thing, but we need some money, you dig? Patrice, welcome to this reality. Yo, you were born for this, but we need your help, right? And so please, community, let's do community well, right? And amongst this COVID stuff, listen, the reality is we still got to do community. So I love y'all and thank you for my opportunity.
Thank you to all elected officials, city leaders, Councilmember Burke, Mayor Pro Tem, City of Winston-Salem for hosting this event, and for Pastor Scovens and our community for being here. My name is Dewana Hamlin, and I am the director of Bridges to Hope Family Justice Center of Forsyth County. We're a department of Forsyth County government with many organizations and institutions to offer services and resources in one location for individuals and families experiencing domestic violence, sexual assault, child maltreatment, elder abuse, and human trafficking. You know, those unmentionable things that we don't like to talk about in pleasant company. This model decreases trauma and increases empowered decision-making of victims. And we're located not too far from here. We're on the Forsyth County Health and Human Services campus at 725 North Highland Avenue in Annex 1. No appointment is needed, and services are currently available at no cost, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And I'll give you the phone number. It's 336-776-3255. Again, that's 336-776-3255. You can actually file a complaint on site for an emergency ex parte 50B domestic violence protective order and have a virtual hearing with a district court judge on site if you arrive at the center between 8:30 and noon before our cutoff. Court hearings are held daily at 2:00 p.m. Partners provide services on-site and off-site, and they include Children's Law Center, Family Services, Forsyth County Clerk of Court, Forsyth County District Attorney's Office, Kernersville Police Department, Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, Winston-Salem Police Department, the Parenting Path, the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction, Legal Aid of North Carolina, and several other county departments, such as the Department of Social Services, the Department of Public Health, Community and Economic Development, and also we include survivors from this community who provide invaluable feedback to our staff and partners about how we're operating and what their needs are. So let me tell you real quick the reality of guns and domestic violence and the link between other types of violence. We heard about gun violence earlier, but we've had 3 homicides this year at least that are related to domestic violence. And most intimate partner violence homicides, it's probably no surprise, are committed with firearms. In fact, according to the North Carolina Coalition of Domestic Violence in North Carolina through January 18th, there were 8 out of 9 homicides that were committed with a firearm, and 5 of those were murder homicides and suicides. In 2022, 35 out of 47 known domestic violence homicides through the end of November were committed with firearms. And I'm sure if we went back 20 years for the stats that have been collected through the Coalition Against Domestic Violence, it wouldn't be surprising that we are seeing the same pattern as we've seen for the past 20 years. According to some research, there's a 26% increase of intimate partner homicides with firearms between 2010 through 2017, while homicides with other weapons have actually decreased. As for mass shootings, 59.1% between 2014 and 2019 were related to domestic violence. And in 68% of those shootings, the shooter had a history of domestic violence or killed a family member or intimate partner. The recap of this information, folks, is that guns in the hands of abusers can be deadly to children in the home, the intended victim, bystanders, and other community members. Domestic violence doesn't just stay at home. Friends, family, co-workers, pastors, officers, nurses, social workers, teachers, and you and me, we all need to know the red flags. We need to know the resources. We need to know about resilience building to help our families have healthy relationships. We need to identify patterns that lead to abuse, injury, and the unfortunate death of our loved ones. I thank you again tonight for the challenge to go forward, to work together, to collaborate, and to partner so that one day we can look in our rearview mirror and see that domestic violence is behind us. Thank you.
Thank you. So I know we only have a little bit of time together, but I just wanted to revisit our objectives. It was important that you know what your police department is doing to fight crime, but what you also heard was we can't do it alone. It's important for you to know about resources available. Two that just stood up and spoke to you. But that's not all the resources available. That takes me to the third and last objective. Winston-Salem is full of resources. There are people out here doing the work, many of them in here. There has to be a way that we can come out of our silos and warehouse this information so that members of the community can get a hold of this resource. So I'm hoping we hit that third objective tonight. If you're out here, and if you're out here doing the work, even if it's similar to what someone else is doing, please make sure you get that information to us so that everyone will have access to the information. Again, we're going to have to do this together, but I'm confident in the city that I was born and raised in, and I love so much that we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Penn, Sheriff Kimbrough, Assistant Chief Gomez, and Weaver, and our partners for sharing. We are so fortunate to have our newly appointed, hired Chief Penn. He comes with a fresh perspective on law enforcement, and I love his little acronym. Is it PIA? And we say PIA stands for Prevention, Intervention, and Apprehension. Thank you so much. I'm going to stay on Chief Penn just for another second. Chief Penn, again, like he said, he's homegrown. He's from right here. His heart is here. His family's home is right down the street. Dr. Maxwell, did you know that Chief Penn is a Carver High School graduate? Okay, I think we need to give him another round of applause just for that. You know, we're in good hands. As I sat at the forums and I listened to our assistants talk about their love for this community, the compassion that was showed among all three, I knew no matter which direction we went in, we would be in good hands. I'm glad that we ended up with everybody and Chief Penn as our chief. I want to say to Sheriff Kimbrough, we are blessed to have you as well. You are homegrown. You have been right here. You care about this community. We trust you, and we just so much appreciate all that you do to work for us every single day. I think that with the collaboration between these two law enforcement agencies, we are going to see a difference. We are going to be able to see our community move in a different direction as it pertains to law enforcement and this gun crime. At this time, we're going to hear from some of our community members and hear educational appeals and receive updates on different resources. And as I call your names, this is the order that you'll come up. We'll have Pastor Timbila Covington first, Ms. Kia Harvey, Mr. Joey Hundley, and Ms. Tabitha Childress, and when they come up, they'll tell you the organizations that they're representing in our community. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Councilmember Burke, for this invitation to come and share on behalf of Neighbors for Better Neighborhoods. Thank you to all the elected officials that are here, Chief Penn, Sheriff Kimbrough, and Pastor Scovins for the opportunity to be here as well. I'm not going to be before you long. Many of you know me as Pastor Covington. I am a bivocational pastor, and I work as a Strengthening Neighborhoods and Families Program Director at Neighbors for Better Neighborhoods. Some of you may be quite familiar with Neighbors for Better Neighborhoods, which is a nonprofit grassroots organization that believes that every resident in every community is an asset, meaning that we strengthen our efforts in our work by collaborating as community residents to develop our own community. In short, we believe that we can develop our communities from within without having access to too many systemic views and programs that would be able to enable us to do things. We have the power, we have the strength, we have the wherewithal. There was a charge that was given to us as faith leaders from Sheriff Kimbrough at a prayer vigil not long ago. He said that we needed to put some legs to our prayers. I do this every day. I do this every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes even further on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday as a pastor as well. We come together to help strengthen our ties, our networks within communities, and we do that together in collaboration with those who are willing and wanting to develop our communities. We have resident leaders that have certainly provided their time and their effort to help lead this work in certain communities. As I'm looking around, I see we have one of our resident leaders from Bowen Park community, Miss Juanita Withers. I believe she is here on tonight. Thank you so much for being here. And as well, we have our Economic and Equitable Development Coordinator, Mr. Christopher Taylor, who leads that charge of our resident leaders. Our resident leaders are in communities that you and I may not always visit at all times, but there is the strength and the wherewithal to be able to develop and to do necessary work to be able to lower this temperature down where there is gun violence and any kind of violence. My heart goes out to any parent, mother, father, uncle, aunt, anyone who has lost a loved one at the hands of gun violence. Because of our work that has been great over the years, over 30 years with these resident leaders within different communities, we have been given a charge by our local government from the county and from the state to be able to lead the program Cure Violence, to be able to implement that within our communities, led by residents. We have not implemented it yet, but we are looking for candidates that live in the communities, that want to be ambassadors for their communities, to help come together and to lower this temperature down around gun violence. So if you go on to Indeed.com and you see anything that is related to Cure Violence with Neighbors for Better Neighborhood, please sign up. Please join in this work that is tedious, that is not for the faint of heart. It comes with the necessary need for everyone to come together and collaborate. We're not here to reinvent the wheel. We're just here to galvanize community to come together because we're all an asset and we're able to do the work together. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kia Harvey. I am the Chief Magistrate of the Criminal Division for Forsyth County. I just want to first make sure that you all know that, yes, I'm homegrown. I was born and raised in Winston-Salem. I have relatives that have been impacted by gun violence. So I am appreciative that Councilwoman Burke invited me to be here tonight to just provide an educational perspective as far as what the magistrates do. I think a lot of people don't really understand or know what a magistrate is, what the magistrate's office does, and what part we have to play or fit into this big piece of the criminal justice system for Forsyth County, Winston-Salem. First and foremost, we are independent judicial officials. So the pretense of what we do is usually established in the statute, it's established in local policy. So in regards to gun violence and violent crimes, our assessment is going to have the community, you all, at heart. When we're looking at conditions of release, we set conditions of release. Most of the time in violent offenses, some cases the statute leads and it goes straight to the next level. In regards to probable cause or criminal charges, pursuing criminal charges, a lot of people don't know where to go when the courthouse is closed. We are the courthouse when the courthouse is closed. We're open 24/7. I like to say rain, sleet, snow, shine, or pandemic. We are there. Someone is there. So if you have someone that doesn't know even where to get started, a lot of times people just come down to the magistrate's office. We try our best to make sure that we lead people in the right direction and to the right agency. But more specifically in regards to violent offenses, I wanted to speak on making sure that the community knows that we, as the magistrate's office, we assess it based on threat to community. Conditions of release are assessed based on threat to community. So being homegrown and knowing a number of the magistrates in the magistrate's office that are homegrown and based in the community, our first concern is making sure that the community is safe. And so I just wanted to make sure that you all knew from an educational perspective as far as the magistrate's office and what we do. And that's just a brief synopsis of what we do. But thank you all.
Good evening. My name is Joey Hunley. I'm the Director of Emergency Services for Forsyth County EMS, or Emergency Services. I guess I'm the County Fire Chief as well. Thank you for having us out tonight. It's unfortunate, actually, that we actually have to be here to have these kinds of conversations. I am an implant. I am not from Forsyth County. I was born and raised in Surrey County, and I left and gave 26 years of my life to the United States Navy and the submarine force. And I came back here in December. Thank you. I am uber excited to be here, to be able to be part of this community and get back about as close as home as I'm actually going to get back to. I had the unfortunate opportunity to be, I came here from Virginia Beach, and in Virginia Beach, during my time there as a deputy EMS chief, we had a mass shooting in the municipal center there, where 12 people lost their lives and another 5 were critically injured, and then he who shall not be named, whatever happened, happened. And I don't like these conversations, right? I don't like to have to be here to have these talks. I don't want to be part of it, but it is where we are today. And so I was asked to come and teach, to talk just a second about how to stop the bleed. I don't want to talk about how to stop the bleed. I want to actually go off of what Chief Penn's piece about his mnemonic was, prevention, intervention, and apprehension. And the sheriff said it before I could say it. I'm going to add education. What I want to do is educate you, but I want to educate you the right way. I can tell you to squeeze hard the leg or the arm where there's a wound there to stop the bleed. It takes less than 2 minutes for someone to bleed out if they're shot in the right place on their body. And there are multiple right places that can occur on one's body. 2 minutes. 2 minutes or less, right? Call 911. Get folks coming. That's what needs to happen, right? But here's the other thing I'll tell you. I got one, I got two phones, right? And I stand up in front of new classes all the time. And I've heard enough folks tonight talk about family and social issues. And I remind folks that we communicate with this and these and not with these, right? And that we don't need to look to social media and Call of Duty, pick your version, and Grand Theft Auto to talk about how we handle things in the community. We need to look at each other and talk to each other, right? And I talk to my students about that all the time, about, hey, look, you're going to be in the back of an ambulance talking to patients. You got to talk. Talk means converse, right? Answer questions, ask questions, have a conversation. You might learn a little something about the person that you're talking to. The number in my office is 336-703-2750. If you want some community education on Stop the Bleed, if you're looking for something about the unfortunate overdose situations that we have in the community, if you're looking for community-based CPR, again, 336-703-2750 will get you directed to the right organization to help you out. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. I'm Tabitha Childress. I'm with Winston-Salem Fire Department. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Scovin, Councilmember Burke, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, Lee Garrity, Patrice, Ben Rowe. Thank you all for having us. So I'm with Winston-Salem Fire Department, and you may wonder, what does fire department have to do with all of this? Well, fire department is first responders. So typically, we're first on the scene. And so we have some members here that serve our community, and I'll start with our very own Battalion Chief, Aaron Patrick, who is homegrown. Chief Patrick is a proud graduate of WSSU and an Omega man. So we also have with us the fire crew that helps serve our area, and that would be Tim Gentry, if you would stand, please, who's an engineer. Victor Taylor. Sean Skarzinski, and Aaron Davis. Thank you for serving us. So let me start with saying that the Winston-Salem Fire Department has a new program, and it's called BEAR, Behavioral Evaluation and Response. This program offers an alternative response to nonviolent mental health calls to 911. The BEAR team will provide compassionate mental health intervention services for persons in need in our community. And the director of that program is Kristen Ryan. If you'll stand, Kristen. Kristen has 20 years of experience dealing with people with mental health issues and substance abuse. So Kristen will be here to serve you. Kristen will be here after the program. So if you have any questions or just want to introduce yourself and talk about the services that you provide, we'd love to collaborate with you. Thank you, Kristen. Also want to mention that Winston-Salem Fire Department will be partnering with our Recreation and Parks Division to offer hands-only CPR training. This will be free to our community. And where that helps is that in the event of an emergency, every second counts. And just knowing basic skills will help. We hope that you don't have to use them, but in the event that you do, that will be there for you. More information will be coming about that, for that, and it will be housed in different recreation centers throughout the city. We're happy to serve you. We hope that you don't need us, but if you do, please call. Thank you.
I want to thank our local partners and agencies for providing life-saving information, as well as information on where to go to obtain a 50B, information on how to have a virtual hearing with a judge. We thank you so much. This is critical information that we need. I am going to bring up someone that I failed to mention before, Ms. Tawana Roebuck. She is the Director of ESR, Experiment and Self-Reliance. Let's give her a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I want to begin by thanking the great minister here, Minister Scovins, for hosting this wonderful event, City Council Member Burke, as well as Mayor Pro Tem. It's a great opportunity to be with you. I am Tawana Roebuck. I am the Director of Experiment and Self-Reliance. As I look out in the audience, I know a number of you have known Experiment and Self-Reliance for a long time. In fact, over in East Winston, you'll still see our signs. We're physically located on 3480 Dominion Street. Tonight, I want to briefly talk about the village. When you think about the village, certainly think of Experiment and Self-Reliance, think of Habitat, think of social services, think of family services. We're that part of the village that addresses the critical needs of the family. I was so pleased when I heard someone say that we need parenting classes. We have classes at Experiment and Self-Reliance They're known as Road to Empowerment. Road to Empowerment. It is a driveway to success. And one of the things that ESR stands ready to do is to provide parenting classes. Yes, we do budget counseling. Yes, we do one-on-one counseling. But sometimes people don't realize of the educational classes that we host each and every day at ESR. Last night, in concert with Melinda Hash, who's on our staff, we had one of those sessions where we talked about the importance not only of money management, but how to manage a behavior that's good for your family. Oftentimes I talk about, where's grandma and them? You know, the NIMS. Now, I didn't grow up in Winston-Salem. I grew up in a small town called Roxborough in Person County. But I am a graduate, a proud graduate of Winston-Salem State University. Yes, thank you. When you think about our family structure, I was talking to one of our board members earlier, board member Brenda Red, who's on our board of directors. We talk about the family and the importance when the children go out the house, they represent the name in the family. I have two sons that came out of North Forsyth, one that came out of Quality Education Institute, and in that I say, baby, you're a Wellman. My name is Tawana Wellman Roebuck. Think about the name. Now, you know they're going to call you mama. So think about what you're doing. And so we stand ready at Experiment in Self-Reliance to reach out and help those family members, to help those parents understand the importance of excellence and training. Yes, I'm the woman that'll come through the lobby and tell the young man, baby, get off my couch, stop walking across it. I'm that woman. Mama is sitting there with her thumbs. I'm saying, baby, get off the couch. Let's go over here and get some cookies, and you tell me about it. I'm that type of woman. I believe we all are a part of the village to reach out there and talk to one another. I'm an active member of Carver Road Church of Christ. And in our educational network there, we talk to the kids about the importance of not only being able to quote the Bible, but also to understand the passage that you're saying in your heart and in your spirit. And until we get that in the minds of the families to know the importance of what's in your heart and what's in your spirit, then they can put the guns down. Put that gun down, baby. Come on over there to ESR and let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. So I am very proud today that the mission of Experiment in Self-Reliance is to empower people to be self-reliant. That means to understand, respect yourself, know that you can be better, you can do better. So when you think about the village, think about those nonprofit organizations that are in the community making a difference each and every day. I want to round up and end. I want to invite all of you to put your thumb out. Put your thumb out. Do you see those four fingers that are gathering that thumb? That thumb is supporting, those four fingers are supporting that thumb. We all are connected with each other. And these four fingers are connected with your thumb to keep it strong and firm. You are the four fingers for our thumbs. You are the ones that are making a difference. I thank you. Remember, ESR, we're located right over there behind Haynes Hosiery. We appreciate being here this evening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Again, we want to thank our local partners and agencies, and as Tawana said, we are one. We're all in this together. Dealing with this gun violence issue is not just a Winston-Salem Police Department issue or Forsyth County Sheriff's issue or a City Hall issue. It is a community issue. We are one. We are all in this together, and we need to be able to come together and understand that we need to warehouse all of the information that we've heard tonight in one location. If you have something that you want to contribute, please provide it, share it. We need to do all that we can. We're stronger together. Divided, we will never conquer anything. There are so many boots on the ground organizations working in our community. I think Pastor Sloan already said that. So many people working, working, spending their own money, working, giving their time freely, their love freely, just to help to make a difference. I wish that we had time to bring everybody in from the community that's working together, but we cannot. I've already gotten the eye from my timekeeper. We're about to come to a close, but we have a few more people we want to hear from. So at this time, we're going to bring some of our boots on the ground partners, individuals that are out here working hard every day, and they see firsthand what's going on, and they talk to the families, they talk to the community members, and they're going to come up and share, and they're going to tell us what they're seeing and what they're hearing from the community. They're going to also tell us what they believe we could do, you could do, all of us can do to get a handle on this gun violence. And I think that it is critically important that we make sure that they are included tonight in this briefing. So in the order that I call your name, would you please come? We're going to have David Moore. We're going to have Frankie Gist. We're going to have Corey McCain, followed by David Vallada and Brajan Fonez. Do I have another name? Okay, thank you. Mr. David Moore.
Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today. But these are one of the meetings I'm tired of coming to. Feel me? I started Southside Rides about 18 years ago after a meeting similar to this. Hear me? I started that program teaching guys how to do custom painting, auto body, something that worked. They saw something that they liked. You know what I'm saying? I'm an OG, but I still got swag, you know what I mean? And guys come to me and they talk to me and they give me information that they, you know, they looking for something. But I can't do it by myself. I got a couple of guys I brought with me. We got a street of OG guys to help me do this in the street, you know what I'm saying, from the hood. This is critical, you know what I'm saying? It's hitting home, you know what I'm saying? These guys are calling me from prison, say, Dave, look, man, that was my little nephew that pulled the trigger. Or Dave, that was my cousin that got killed. What you gonna do, you know what I'm saying? So we formed a little group amongst us to come back in the community to help the community out, to try to lead our guys in a better direction, you know what I'm saying? Some of us feel responsible for the activities we've done in the past and kids following us, but I'm serious about what I do. Now, since I started that program 18 years ago, last time I counted was about 37 guys got their own car shops today, you know what I'm saying? The dealerships has hired over 200 of them in Winston, you know what I'm saying? So it was bigger than that. I wanted to go back and reach the kids at a little younger age, you know what I'm saying? So I started another program right here on Martin Luther King, right beside Seafold. I have a barber shop, hair salon, and a music studio. Something else that would interest that type of kid to come and be involved. You know what I'm saying? I try to partner with Winston-Salem State to come and teach the kids how to read and write music by playing an instrument. So I bought some guitars. I got a piano donated to me, you know what I'm saying? And it's been working. But we still get backlashes. And let me explain that, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing this in the hood, and I'm doing it out of my heart, you know what I'm saying? Funding is hard for everybody. So I ain't tripping about that because a hustler is a hustler. We're gonna try to find a way to make it work anyway, you know what I'm saying? The kids don't understand we gotta wait on a cycle or whatever. They're gonna do their business anyway. So we wanna get something in place where we could encourage them to, well, look, I got a music studio. Oh yeah, man, I rap. Okay, we're gonna keep it clean doing it with me, you know what I'm saying? And just give them that insight. A lot of them respect me, you know what I'm saying, because they know of me through their parents, their grandparents. I'm getting old now, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still out here. But I got, you know, Dirty James, Anthony Wright, and I got Devin Gist. They street guys with me. You know what I'm saying? We got guys incarcerated as street guys that's getting guys when they come in prison. Look, man, you need to tighten up or what have you. But you know, that program I do for the kids, my message to them is to learn a trade, but at least graduate from high school. You know what I'm saying? I pay them a stipend, you know what I'm saying? If they're doing what they're supposed to be doing with the parents, and if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in school, you know what I'm saying? It works, you know what I'm saying? But the backlash is If I do a summer program with the cars and I get 6 kids, and at the end of the program, they come and steal my cars, nobody hears about that part of it. But that's taking away what I'm trying to do for them. They might tell me, you know what I'm saying, Dave, I did this, but they're not gonna tell the police. But, you know what I'm saying, I'm out here doing this, and we just need more resources. And the last thing I wanna say is, we need resources from city council too, you know what I'm saying? And the reason I say that, because we run into obstacles there. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, I see people running for House or running for state, whatever, they're using a lot of energy, you know what I'm saying, putting those signs out. But I want to see that same energy getting your hands dirty. Come on out and see what we're doing, you know what I'm saying, so we know you could guide us into what we need. And the last thing, the other obstacle I got, the water busted at my studio. The city got involved. Now I'm going through zoning, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to cry about that stuff. Let's get on and do what we're got to do and stay with the village and help each other and guide each other for the ones of us that don't know. Thank you for your time.
How many more mothers do I have to sit with and she asks me the question, why my baby won't wake up? How many more families do I have to go speak with and sit down with, and the kids look at me and ask me the question, why won't my daddy wake up? Why won't my mother wake up? How many times do I have to go sit with families and friends at their house and tell them that it's going to be okay when I know deep down inside that it's not okay? You don't know how many times I have went to speak for these families and get in my car and cry my eyes out because of half of the people that's dying are the same ones I ran the streets with. And I asked myself the question, what is it going to take for us to stop having this? And the answer that came to me was that we have to stop pointing fingers at everybody else and start pointing fingers at ourselves. I'm going to say it for the person in the back who may not have heard me. I said we have to stop pointing fingers at other people. Stop pointing fingers at the sheriff. Stop pointing fingers at the city council. Stop pointing fingers at the mayor. Stop pointing fingers at the commissioners. Stop pointing fingers at ourselves. Because the thing is this, the same community they serve, we ought to serve too. If all you do is sit on Facebook and make statuses but never have your foot in the ground doing the work, then you have failed the mission of what we are trying to do here in the city of Winston-Salem. I think 2 weeks ago, I had to experience the family hurting of a 12-year-old being taken away too soon. Then, after that, a couple days later, I get a phone call. I had to go see about my friend, Darrell Rice, who was just shot and killed this past weekend. And I asked myself the question, what is it going to take? We're out here in this community working day in and day out. What do we have to do? And this have come to me. And I'm going to say this, and I say it with love. We have to put funding where it matters. Stop putting funding into organizations that are not out here. Stop putting funding into organizations that got a nice logo. Stop putting funding into organizations that got a good talk game at the table. Stop putting money in organizations that don't know about Cleveland, don't know about the Circle, don't know about Salem Gardens, don't know about Rolling Hills, don't know about Ladera Crest. Stop putting funding where it don't matter and put it where it matters. But together we can do this. Together we can. Look at the person next to you and say, together we can do this. Together we can do this. Look at the person behind you and say, together we can do this. Peace and love to you. I love you and God bless you.
My name is Anthony Wright. I first and foremost want to thank God for allowing me to stand here today. About 2 years ago, I'm gonna go back a little farther. About 4 years ago, I changed my life. I mean, change is just something you can't, it takes time. So the first thing I done was I got a trade in the federal penitentiary. When I came home, I told my cousin, I said, I want to do something different. You know, I want to go back to the streets. You know, she helped me get in culinary arts. I made master every test. Was hired by Fratelli's, the Chop House. You know, I was doing good. Still am doing good, but what happened to me was I done a cooking function. I left there. I stopped at the store on 14 in Jackson. Went there and got me a pack of cigarettes, and I came out. 2 young guys, couldn't be no more than 12 or 13 years old. They got the word, run your pockets. I said, man, you know who I am? I'm a trip OG. He said, run your pocket. I said, man, you got to be tripping. I turned around, Blow, you got 3 veins in your leg, 8-millimeter jugular vein and 2 small veins. It cut the 8-millimeter jugular vein and the other vein, it bruised. But God is so good that it sealed the veins. You know, the guy rolled me over, and I looked at that, it was a revolver. I seen the red tips in the bullet. I said, man, you just shot me for nothing, man. Go and take the money. He eased back off the hammer, took my money and left. You know, I say that to say this, y'all. 10, 15 years ago, there would have been war in this town. But today, it's sorrow in my heart, you know, and I ain't gonna take no whole lot of time. David Moore, where you at? See that man right there? He a blessing, y'all. He a blessing. I'm gonna tell you what he did for me. When things got so hard for me, where I couldn't make it, I can call Dave, and it wasn't no money thing. It's just somebody to talk to, somewhere to go. You know, and he calls me all the time. And I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna get out from up here, y'all. Dave called me about 2 weeks ago, and he said, man, I need you. I said, where you at, Dave? I'm on the way. You know, he said, I'm at the studio. I get over there, y'all. It's 6 feet of water in his basement, pipe busted. That's where them kids go every day. You understand what I'm saying? And I said, Dave, dag, man, we got to pump this water out of here. So I went and cut the water off, got most of the water out of there to where I can wade down through there. All the pipes busted everywhere. You know, I can recall sitting on that porch with Dave, and one of the volunteers brought a little girl over there. And she said, Mr. Dave, the baby been acting up in school. So Dave told her to come around, and he said, what's going on? You know, a little stocky black girl, about 12, 11 years old. She dropped her head. Dave said, do you trust me? She said, yeah. He said, what's going on? She said, they picking at me in school. Dave, my shoes ran over. Her shoes was ran over. Raggedy pants, you know. It brought tears to my eyes. It hurt me so bad I had to walk out the back door. I cried like a baby. Today, my heart is pure as it can get, y'all. You know, what it's going to take, Mr. Kimbrough, Mr. Penn, what it's going to take? Foot soldiers like us. No, it's going to take foot soldiers like us because we know the way down through the hood. They're going to respect our gangsters, you know. I challenge y'all today right here, I challenge y'all. When you know you got a man walking right, no matter what, I try to do the right thing even if nobody's looking. It's hard, man, because I'm a street dude. It's hard. You understand what I'm saying? you got to deputize people like, they done it on the Cowboys, didn't they? You got to deputize people like David Moore, some of these other people here out here come up and use these big words. Let's go down in the project. Let's do a gun buyback, y'all, and watch what happens. Watch what happens. I'm finna go. Watch what happens now. I thank y'all so much. I thank y'all so much for allowing me. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Good afternoon. To Pastor Scovin, Councilwoman Burke, to our public servicemen, our governing bodies, and the great citizens of Winston-Salem, grace and much peace be unto you from God our Father and the Lord is Christ. My name is Corey D. McCann, and I'm a resident, but more importantly, I'm a concerned citizen about what's going on. And I hope that subsequently we've garnered solutions to what's taking place in our city. But before I go, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the women out there that's doing the work, like my sister Artisha Tyson, who was out there in Piedmont Circle in Cleveland with me, walking with her 3 daughters. I want to thank people like Miss Asia Burrell, who came all the way from Salisbury, North Carolina, who is a teacher and an educator in Rowan County, one of the toughest counties in North Carolina as it pertains to gun violence. I want to thank people like Councilwoman Burke, who was the only one who raised her hand during the African American Infusion Curriculum election. She was the only one that raised her hand. I want to thank the men out there, like my brother David Vallada, who woke up every day at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning during the height of the pandemic back in 2020, feeding the kids in Skyline, did it on his own. I want to thank people like Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough, who during his election, when I first met him, and I introduced myself to him, and I told him, my name is Corey McCann, and I'm going to email you. He said, Corey, don't you email me. You better call me, man. You better pick up that phone and call me. Real brothers like that. I thank brothers like Elijah Quarterbaum and Frankie Gitz, who are out there in the streets, foot soldiers, actually doing the work. So let me say thank you. But without further ado, let me commence with the conversation. There are a variety and a plethora and a myriad of avenues that we both have to attack and address concerning the dynamic and the fabric of street violence. There's not going to be one answer. There's not going to be one guarantee. It's not going to be one definitive thing. There are a myriad of examples. One example, why is it that community organizations have to go through so many hoops and avenues in the Housing Authority of Winston-Salem? Why to put on programs at the basketball court? Why should we have to go through all of those nuances and those dynamics? Why do we have to go through all that paperwork when the work needs to be done right now? Granted, I understand that there is a chain of protocol that we have to follow, but we ain't got time for no chain of protocol. The work needs to be done right now. Why is it that we allow the gun shows to take precedence in our city? Knowing good and well that despite Second Amendment or rights, that people are doing things under the table to sell these guns to get them out there to the people that are unlawfully using them. Why is it that when we can march and gather ourselves in the fabric of social injustice, we should keep that same energy when we got these 2 to 6 clubs open? Let's bring our signs out there to the clubs that advocate TV and social media, music that greatly influence and impact the dynamic of our children and other means of popular culture. Why is it that we have all these recreation centers And we got to ask ourselves, are they just in there playing basketball, or do we have real thorough mentorship inside of our recreation centers? These are just some things that are scratching the surface. But in closing, with that being said, there are two facets that I want to take precedence and talk about today concerning community accountability. First of all, I want to talk about the church. We got about 5 to 10 churches in every hood of our community. My Bible tells me that faith without works is dead, and they're synonymous with one another. And the second fabric I want to talk about is the men in our community. We often wonder why these women out here that are doing the work like Antonia Arms and Nikita McDaniel and Moms Demand Action, we ask all the time, well, why are you so masculine? Why are you walking in masculinity? That's because we don't strip them away from that. So men, we need to get it together. And I'm not just talking about just walking through the neighborhoods. I'm talking about going to the trap house in your church shoes with your bow tie on, talking to the dope boys, building a rapport, building a dialogue with them, talking to them, because they're not animals as society makes them out to be. They're human beings. Regardless if they wear a blue flag or red flag, they're human beings. So men, we got to get ourselves together. So with that being said, this Saturday and this Sunday, I got a flyer right here. All right, we're hosting a men's community walk. Women can volunteer. If you have any questions about how you can volunteer, I'll be right over here, right here to the left of the sanctuary. Come see me. I got some flyers. We need some men to get involved in this walk. We're going to be in Piedmont Circle, and we're going to be in Cleveland Avenue Homes this Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. and on Sunday at 4 o'clock p.m. Yes, that's right, on Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to do this work. So if anybody has any questions and or comments, I got the flyers right here. We done talking. It's up.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Thank you for having us, for inviting us. My name is David Vallada, founder and director of New Life Nueva Vida, director of Beating Up Bad Habits Mentoring Program, bail bondsman, community activist, violence interrupter, gang prevention, you name it, you call it. I wear all the hats in my community, in my hood, in my streets. We're here because our families are hurting. Our kids are roaming around in our streets in something we call a normality. It ain't normal for these kids to walk by and see dead bodies and know about a cousin, a friend, a sister, somebody who just died. Gun violence is out of control. We've heard from all these people about all the great stuff that we're doing, all the programs, all the technology, about all the organizations that are here helping and doing what they do. Well, I'm going to be the first one to say that if we ain't done what we had to do, we failed. You say, what do you mean? Everything we've been doing ain't working. Look where we at now. I could blame myself for a lot of different things. I could blame whoever, whatever, for a lot of different things, but we're not here to point fingers. I ain't even going to go there today. Funding, money, is one big thing that they're using for technology, for this, for that, for all this other stuff. It ain't reaching our streets. It ain't coming to the people who really out there on the ground. I told you everything I do, right? Guess what the community and Hispanic community say now? That I got my own funeral home, because each time there's a death in our community, they come to me, and I do the arrangements. I do all the stuff. I even get you funeral and burial for $6,800. They say, how you do that? Connection in the communities. People love me, do favors for me. So now they say, David got a funeral home. No, I don't. When you're going through pain and suffering, and you're not even done planning for college funding or for your parents, for your kids, for something, but you got to find money to bury your kids or your loved ones. You ain't got no mind for that. How do I look at these families in our community? The Rio Navarretes, the Lopez, the Hernandez, the Morales, Peñalosas, And how do I start a sentence? Good day, good afternoon, how you doing, how you been? Those ain't questions you ask when somebody's dead and you hurting. We've heard today about this beautiful 12-year-old girl who died. And we keep talking about nobody stepping up to the plate and nobody saying nothing. These kids are making up their own mistakes and they dry snitch on how they say it. They record all this stuff and they put it in social media. You guys have all the technology, you guys have all the systems. You know who did it. Just because somebody won't point a finger and incriminate themselves because they're afraid of what might happen to them next. But if somebody out here selling dope, they can have an informant. They go get their warrants and stuff, and they go lock you up. Come on now. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to keep saying. We've been doing this for too many years. I applaud the city for everything they did and for the 0 homicides in July. But where was the city? Where was the folks when we had a peace treaty amongst all the Sureño gangs, all the Hispanic gangs for 15 months? When in the Hispanic community, there was a bit of hope that if you knew who your kid was and what was going on, at least they would come home because there was a peace treaty. We let the city councilmen know, police department knew, the city knew, nobody reached out. But here we are still 2 more years later asking how we gonna make this happen. Well, let's stop talking, let's stop meeting. Let's make some actions, let's make some demands, because I'm tired of looking at my family and my people in my community, because I hurt like they hurt. It ain't right. When I gotta be dealing with a family of a 12-year-old, but I'm getting called because of a mentee in my program, Jaden Brown, passed away at a facility. And then the next day later, I got the Toribio family calling me because their son died too. Where's my peace? Where's my grieving? But I gotta keep going. So I ask everybody in this community, in these streets, and here in this program, all the specialists, keep going. While you guys are talking about all this surveillance, all this camera, all this new stuff, you guys had the highest peak of homicides a couple years ago in 20 years. What are we still doing talking? Put us in the streets. You guys are the specialists, you guys are the professionals, make us your assembly line. Put us to work, we'll give you a finished product.
Good evening, buenas tardes. My name is Brajan Funes. I serve on the Gang Steering Committee. You've heard a lot about that, and it's an incredible organization, and they're boots on the ground, as you've heard plenty of time. I also serve on the board of directors for the Hispanic League here locally, and it's an honor to be up here. I was not born here. I immigrated here when I was 4 years old. Legal or not, I consider myself an American. Legal or not, I consider myself a resident of this community, and I'm invested in this community. And I've been here since I was 4 years old, and I'll continue to serve this community. I've been asked up here to make a plea, make an outreach to the Hispanic community to share some of the resources that we offer with the Hispanic League. At the Hispanic League, we offer scholarships regardless of citizenship status. We don't ask that. That is not a question. We offer Middle School Achievers Program. It's a mentorship program for middle schoolers in Title I schools. We also offer parent enrichment programs. I heard the need for parent classes to help our Spanish-speaking parents engage with their teachers at school. We also offer health fairs. And here in just a moment, I am going to speak to the families at home, or Latinos at home. Yo trabajo con la Liga Hispana y nuestra misión es clara, es para elevar nuestras comunidades. Estoy aquí para asegurar a la comunidad que hay recursos, organizaciones y gente disponible para ayudar, escuchar y promover vecindarios seguros y saludos. Ofrecemos becas, ferias de salud, somos una conexión para muchos otros servicios que hay hoy. Nuestro número de teléfono es 336-270-9210. Eso es 336-270-9210. Cuando yo fui joven me involucré en cosas que no debería haber hecho. Hice errores y me metí en problemas, pero gracias a la maravillosa gente de la comunidad, de las escuelas y de la Liga Hispana, yo pude reenfocarme y seguir adelante. Los errores de alguien no deberán definir la vida, entonces no esperan para pedir ayuda. Como dice, la Liga Hispana está aquí para hacer una conexión a las familias con los servicios que ofrecemos aquí. Hay programas y asistencias en la Forsyth Tech para aprender el inglés, para agarrar la educación que necesita uno para empezar un trabajo. Hay muchas iglesias aquí en los comunitarios, latinos también. Lo último que quiero mencionar a nuestra gente es les pido que se involucren en la comunidad. Los latinos necesitamos una voz más fuerte en nuestro gobierno. Necesitamos que el gobierno sepa que estamos aquí viviendo, trabajando y invirtiendo en nuestras comunidades. Again, I want to say it is a great honor to be here. I am providing an outreach to the Hispanic families here, but I'm also an advocate for the Hispanic families here, also for the thousands of Hispanics here that live here, work here, pay taxes, but don't have a vote. That is not just a federal issue, that is a state issue, that is a city issue, and that is a community issue. But I appreciate it, and again, I'm so glad that the very important and honorable people here are prioritizing the Hispanic voice. Thank you.
I want to thank our Boots on the Ground organizations for coming and sharing. It is so important, again, to hear their voices. They are out here doing the work, and they appealed to us today because they're saying they need some help. They're doing the work. They're doing what they can to address these gun violence issues, and they need some help. They're standing in the gap, and they want us to help fill that gap. So I just want to say we have foot soldiers, and I want to give them a round of applause. I also want to say I did not realize that Corey McCants and Gist, pastors, I see it in your future, okay? Let me move on. We have received a lot of information this evening from our law enforcement agencies, from our community organizations, agencies helping out in the community. We've learned a lot about how we can help save lives. We've learned that we have Cure Violence. We've learned that we have the BEAR team. We've learned that we can register our doorbells, right? Chief Assistant Chief Gomez. We've learned that we can all register our doorbell cameras so that we can keep each other safe. And I just think that we've received a wealth of information. We've been provided with a wealth of resources. So you have more leaving here than you had coming in. What are you going to do with it? That's the question. Do you understand now that we are all in this together? We are one. This is not a one-sided problem. This is a problem that we all are facing, and we will all have to deal with together. What did Ms. Tawana tell us? Hold up that thumb and understand what that means. At this time, I'm going to thank Pastor Dr. Scovens for allowing us to assemble here in his beautiful church. I'm going to turn the meeting, the briefing back over to him. And I would be remiss if I did not say we have a lot of foot soldiers, we have a lot of organizations working hard, and one man that works hard in our community was not able to be with us today, and it is Bishop Sir Walter Mack. Yes, give him a round of applause. Bishop Mack and his Union Baptist Church family, they are working hard as well, trying to address this gun violence issue in our community as well as other issues. Again, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Scovens, and as he comes forward, please give him a round of applause.
Pastor Miller's coming, let me just say to our community that I am hopeful. I'm hopeful because we are all working on something. And you got to understand that every one of us, we each have a piece of the puzzle. But we can't get frustrated by what we don't have. If you understand the history of who we are, we've never worked with a whole lot. We've always had to work with little and less than. And what I say to you as workers in the community, I understand your frustration because most of the funerals that we have when it's related to gun violence of any sort, we hold them here. I'm just as tired, weary, and worn as you are because it's the aftercare. It's helping the parents get through the days after. But I understand this, that even when I'm working with less or little, I can't give up the fight. So I say to the one who's working with no budget, be not weary in well-doing. For in due season you shall reap if you faint not. And nobody ever promised that the road would be easy. Matter of fact, if it were easy, it wouldn't be rewarding. So hold on, hang in there, keep your head up, because if you save one, you saved many. How do I know? The Bible says that one can chase 1,000. Two can put 10,000 to flight. So if you save one, you have no idea how many thousands you have saved. So as one who serves in this community, who stands, who is out in the community, mobilizing, doing what we do as a church and ministry, I'm here to let you know that you still reap what you sow. So brothers and sisters, keep sowing, keep planting, and I know that the harvest will be a great reward. Pastor Miller is coming. God bless you. Let's hang in there. Let's not fight one another. We need each other in order to make our community even better. God bless you.
Let us pray. God, I preached from a text not too long ago about a woman whose child was in trouble. And she came to Jesus, and the only thing she could say was, "Lord, help me." God, there are times in our lives as individuals and in our community when we don't know what to do, when we are faced with problems and situations and circumstances that we have discussed and dialogued and tried every idea we could think of, and it's still not enough. So God, we declare tonight, Lord, help us. We need you, God. We pray for your presence in this city. We pray for your presence in our local communities. We pray for law enforcement, God, that you would just empower them and give them fresh ideas to partner with the folks on the ground to be able to make a difference in this city. Most importantly, God, we pray for our grieving families who have lost loved ones to senseless violence, including my wife's family, God, who just buried her cousin today from senseless gun violence. Be with these families, Lord. It's hard, it's painful, but I pray that you would strengthen them with the power of your Spirit and your presence, that even though they still feel loss and pain, that they would be able to move on, remembering their loved one, but still making a difference in this world. God, I pray that you would bring us together as a community and empower us to do what needs to be done. God, we recognize and realize tonight that we cannot do it without you. So as we leave this sacred space on tonight, touch all of those who are doing the work. Give them everything that they need. When they feel like giving up, God, I pray that they would hear your voice and feel your presence, and that you would explain to them and let them understand that they are making a difference in this world. Convict us, God. Touch our hearts. Fill us with your Spirit and empower us to put legs, hands, arms, feet, and our minds, along with our prayers, and roll up our sleeves and stand arm in arm and fight the good fight. Again, God, touch those grieving families. Let them feel your love. If you do it, God, we'll be careful to give you the honor, the glory, and the praise. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Good night. Be safe going home. Thank you.